Willie D Live.
The more I learn and think about the tragic death of Nolan Wells, the more the investigation is bothering me. It's not so much what I am hearing that law enforcement is doing, it's what they're not doing. And the key issue I have today is why are they only focusing on one vessel? We know the vessel that Nolan went to the island on, and there is at least one narrative that says he did not return on that vessel. That seems consistent with the fact that one of Nolan's apparent friends, Cole, I think his name, whose mother happens to be a judge, is the first known person to make a phone call regarding Nolan's well-being. He calls his mother, and his mother calls law enforcement. And what, as a third-party observer, as a critic of the situation, wants to know is, and we may never know, is what did Cole say to his mother, and what did mother say to law enforcement? That Nolan was missing? That seems unlikely. It seems unlikely that his friend would say, oh, he's missing. And other friends had other boats at that party. And was Nolan on any of those boats after the fact? If Nolan's body washed up on shore, it probably came in from out in the ocean. I'm not so sure it was on that first boat that everyone's paying attention to, but he may have been out on a boat and something happened to him for sure, because he's not with us anymore. Was it an accident? Was it a drowning? Was it something more? But I think we are focused in the wrong place, and that's why we're not finding answers. And I hope we do.
Okay, fam. That was Jack Palmieri, defense attorney Jack Palmieri. Jack, who's a friend of the show, seems to think that, there was another boat involved, and that perhaps the people that were responsible for Nolan's death are these people that was on the boat. That is not my belief. I believe that Nolan Wells was killed by his friends, his so-called friends, and I know that they know exactly what happened. That's why they lawyered up so fast. That is my belief. I believe that he was killed by his so-called friends. Yeah, and it's already been established that Nolan did not drown. He did not drown. And I'll take it a step further, fam. The local coroner kept his throat and his lungs, key organs and tissue that they need to make a solid determination on what happened to Nolan, especially when you start talking about perhaps drowning, right? Why would they withhold? Why would they cut out his throat and his lungs and keep it? I got that they would cut it to examine it, but why would they keep it? Why? What are they trying to cover? Why didn't they give it to the independent coroner, the independent medical examiner? Why not give it to him? Why not give him everything he needs so that he can make an educated decision on what he believes is factual? I smell cover up, y'all, all day long. All day long. Look, I would love to live in a society where we can trust law enforcement. Oh man, wouldn't that be nice? That would be so nice to live in that type of society. I just remember all my life, man, just growing up. I never once saw the police wave and smile. Anytime the police came to my neighborhood, it was always something bad. Either they were creating a problem or they were showing up for a problem because of a problem. Yeah, always. I'm telling you, fam, I was in the hood for 18 straight years, and I never saw the police officer be friendly. And I'm talking about as a kid. I mean, you can at least wait a little 5-year-olds, right? Little 5, little 6, little 7, little 8, little old little black kids. You at least just go like, hey, hey, little fella, what you doing over there? Something, you know what I mean? I didn't get none of that, fam. And I don't recall any of my friends getting any of that. The police was always menacing. Always. So they get mad when we say bad things about them. They get mad when we say things like, you can't trust the police. They'll be like, yeah, well, if something happened to you, don't call us. You're already getting a free check. They want to pick and choose when they want to show up. The police can't stand to be without us. They got to come to the hood because that's what an action is for them. They couldn't go 24 hours without coming into the hood and pushing somebody around. So those type of threats are falling on deaf ears. You did. Back to the two-boat theory. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Why did that boat that Nolan was on with his friends, Warren and the rest of them, Warren and Jackson, what was the other one, the other two, why did they leave so early? Remember, y'all, it's the 4th of July. Everybody's out. This is according to Warren Hudson, the one whose mother is a judge. This is according to him. That's his mother right there. That's Ashley Cole. Jack got his name mixed up a little bit, but he don't share the same name as his mother because that's his stepmother. Well, I guess that don't necessarily mean that they couldn't have the same last name, but that is his stepmother, and her last name is Cole. Warren last name is Hudson, but that's his stepmother. And this is the woman who protected him. And I am assuming that she is the same one who called all other parents and said, don't say nothing, get rid of those social medias, lawyer up. This two-boat theory, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I think Noah, look, if Noah was on another boat, where's the boat? Where are the people that was on the boat? Where are the people? I know somebody would say, oh, Nolan was with us. I'm not buying it. And then check this out, fam. Not one of his friends who was on the boat with him attended his funeral. That's cold-blooded. I'm not talking about friends. I'm not talking about enemies. I'm talking about friends. Friends. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. We'd have to just get it on, man. If that's my friend, I'm going to pay my respects. Now, if me and him got something going on and I don't like him, if I killed him or something, yeah, maybe, I don't want to go. If I killed him or I wanted to kill him, yeah, I could see skipping that. But my friend, let Warren tell it. He and Nolan were friends since elementary. Not just friends, but his best friend. That's what he said. How you have a best friend and never been over his house before? Y'all got any best friends whose house y'all never been over? Anybody? Can anybody speak on that? I'm talking about you never been to his house ever in your life. No house he ever lived in. You never been there. You got a best friend like that? I don't. So I'm not buying any of it. I'm not buying that this judge did not try to protect Warren, and I'm not buying. And she, remember, fam, she made a statement early on, and she tried to cover for them, talking about how they were in fear, and she's trying to just protect them and all of this type of stuff. in fear for their life, talking about they getting death threats. Huh. Death threats. I guess it's a lot nicer to get a death threat than somebody actually be responsible for your death. Somebody actually carry it out. Because y'all know, like I know, ain't nobody threatening them. And if they are, they already know ain't nothing gonna happen, because ain't nothing ever happened in the history of death threats of a suspect. A person suspected, especially a white person suspected of killing a black person, they don't get killed. They don't get killed while awaiting the verdict or waiting the decision to indict. That don't happen. It's just like when the police say they get death threats and, we're protecting his identity because, people are threatening him and his family. When last time it happened and the police actually was harmed in any way? It don't happen. That's just something they say to gain sympathy. That's right. I know him. Woo! I know him. I studied you. Yeah, man. Studied you. Jack, you the homie, man. You the homie. But I think you're barking up the wrong tree, man. I think you're barking up the wrong tree. Nolan Wells did not drown. I don't care what anybody says. Nolan Wells was beaten to death. That's where the evidence leads me. And I'm going where the evidence is. I'm not going with this soft-spoken teenager talking like we're supposed to trust him because he sounds like a nice guy. You know how many nice guys who have been responsible for all kinds of chaos in the world? They come off real nice and trustworthy. Next thing you know, they didn't beat you for your whole mortgage, beat you for your whole house. They put the house in their name, your house. Yeah, they done sold you a mountain in the ghetto. Yeah, I'm not feeling it, fam. I don't trust none of it. I don't trust none of it. I don't trust none of it, and I don't trust none of them. I don't trust the friends. I don't trust law enforcement. I do not trust the coroner. I don't trust the medical examiner. I don't trust anybody who handled that body. Even though all y'all may not be wrong, I still can't trust you. Because if it's related especially to Mississippi, all of the agencies cover for each other. So just because an investigation escalated to another agency does not mean that, and that other agency says the exact same thing that the first agency says, does not mean that, okay, we can all just go home and accept their findings. No, man, they work together. Yeah, they're all in the same game. I don't trust them. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.